I was trying to fall asleep one night when my brain came up with a question that not even the great mathematicians, Einstein, Archimedes, or MatPat could ever think of to find the answer to. How much food does Wario have to eat to look like that? Well, that's what I, the guy who doxed Baldi and made a failed Mario ARG, is going to find out. By the way, I'm not trying to body shame Wario in this video, I'm just trying to find out this vital information. What I mean by how much does Wario have to eat for the purposes of this video is two things. How many calories he has to eat to keep the same weight, and how obese he is compared to other humans. There's a number that shows how fat someone is, and that is called the BMI, or Body Mass Index. And that is what we are going to try to find first. So, the way to find out Wario's BMI and how he keeps his glorious physique is to find only two things: his height and weight. Luckily, his weight is actually pretty easy to find. We can find that in the Wario World manual. It just flat out tells us his weight, and his weight is 308 pounds. I'm going to trust this information because it comes packaged with an official game, it's not just some bootleg manual, and we can tell that it is not manipulated by Wario because directly under that, he makes excuses or whatever for him being 308 pounds. 300 pounds with his clothes on was actually lighter than I thought Wario would be. Just for reference, Nikocado Avocado was 411 pounds before he lost all of the weight overnight, which makes Wario 110 pounds lighter than Nikocado Avocado. Well, that first part was pretty easy, but the next part is where it gets pretty difficult. We need to find out how tall Wario is. There's no piece of official media that states how tall Wario is, and I know the greats have crumpled at the task to try to find Wario's height, so we will have to get pretty creative with finding out how tall Wario is. The first thing that I will definitely want to do is find out how tall Wario is compared to Mario, since it will be easier to find Mario's height. But here's where we hit another roadblock. Wario's height is never consistent. I calculated the percentage of Wario's height compared to Mario in the first 3 Wario games where Mario appears, and the height is all over the place. Mario is 78% the height of Wario in Mario Land 2, 70% of the height of Wario in Mario and Wario, I bet you didn't expect to see that on the list, and 115% of the height of Wario in Super Mario 64 DS. So, I decided that it would be best to try to forget all of those old games, and just use the most up-to-date height of Wario, which would be his newest game with Mario, Mario Party Jamboree. When I calculated the height of Wario compared to Mario, I found out that if we assume that Mario was 5'1", which there are multiple pieces of evidence that he is 5'1", Wario would be about 5'4". Finally, we found all of the pieces to find out how many calories Wario has to eat. If you've been wondering where I was for the past 4 months, I was just trying to think of a way to find Wario's height. I wasn't dead. I swear. Now, for the moment you've been waiting for, Wario has a 51.2 BMI score! Woo! That might not mean anything to you at all, but it can show us how big he is compared to the normal human being. And it says that he is severely obese. I was appalled at this news. I thought that Wario was a masterpiece of a human being, the pinnacle of man. But according to this website, he's just very fat. According to Healthline.com, having the BMI that he has could shorten his lifespan by 14 years. Wario, my man, you've got to lose some weight! We might not see him in the next Mario Party game at this rate. So, with the BMI, we can find out how big he is compared to other people, but all of the interesting things come with finding out how many calories he needs to eat. We are able to find how many calories he needs to eat with the things that we've already found, but we need to know his age. There are a couple of different ways to go about this, but I'm going to say that he's the same age as Mario because they were both babies on Yoshi's Island DS. According to an interview with Miyamoto, Mario is 25 years old, so that means that Wario is also 25 years old. Now, we can calculate how many calories Wario has to eat, which is 3,575 calories per day. That is crazy. He would have to eat 7 Big Macs a day That would be 15.5 lunchlies a day. We know that garlic is Wario's favorite food, so just for fun, I decided to find out how many garlic heads he would have to eat every day to keep the same body weight, and it was 89 garlic heads. That would be absolutely insane. Just to buy one day's worth of garlic would cost $61. He would have to eat 32,622 garlic heads every year. That would cost $22,500 a year just to eat enough to keep his weight. I know he has that kind of cash from the successful game franchise and all the gold that he has found, but he's for sure wasting his money buying all that garlic. So, throughout this whole video, I have been overlooking some information. I feel like I need to address this elephant in the room. Remember that Wario World manual at the beginning of the video? Well, it not only says Wario's weight, but it also says that his stomach can hold 22 gallons and his bladder can hold 1.1 gallons. His stomach can hold 22 times the amount of food than the average human, which makes me think that we shouldn't hold his eating to the standard of a normal human. I think we should hold his standard to something that has a little bit of a closer size in his stomach capacity, which is the female Asian elephant, which has a stomach capacity of 20 gallons. It's absolutely crazy that he has a stomach that is bigger than a full-grown elephant. If he ate as much as the elephant did, he would have to eat 2 to 10% of his body weight, which would be 6 to 30 pounds of food he has to eat per day. I, in my own opinion, think that the original calculation was more accurate, but Wario has just such a huge stomach that makes me very confused on how we should calculate how much he eats. I guess that just shows how amazing of a human being Wario really is. And remember, he is 2 farts ahead. Always 2 farts ahead. If you liked the video, subscribe.